Good morning, welcome to Morning Outlook. This is Kim speaking on Wednesday, the 8th of January. So, just reading the news, going through the news here, the Iranians have retaliated against the US airstrike and with their own missile attacks on the US bases in Iraq, apparently. So that's where we stand. So of course tensions remain high in the markets, but it's quite interesting. We've been flicking through some of these markets, probably the likes of the euro feeling it less, although we did see with both the euro and the pound we saw spiky action. In fact, it was about midnight-ish when the news, I think, was out there, and the euros moved relatively little. So just taking a look at this euro for the moment, and I'm sort of coming out a little bit here in terms of time. You've still got these high lows, higher highs through on the euro on the daily, so it looks it's sort of developing this sort of shape here. But I'm wondering whether we're going to see. It's had a couple of tests of this 21 recently. I'm wondering if we're going to just roll over, move back maybe towards the 50, maybe a bit more. But just looking at where it's sitting at the moment. Price action on the shorter time frames here, not quite made a lower high yet this week, but on a 4 hourly, but all the same it's bitty. And as I come down to the 60-minute, you can see I've drawn this trend line across here, and it's almost a line in the sand for me at the moment. If it starts breaking down that level, well, maybe looking for a sort of more of a move down. Anyway, the thing with all this news, of course, it can be a spoiler. When there's the sort of the relief moments, we get the rallies, and thereafter it goes back to rolling, etc. But we'll see. Again, coming to the pound, we're sort of seeing this again, high lows, high highs through on the dailies there. Until recently, it sort of hasn't managed to push up to a new high. It's consolidating around this phase this week again. Not done really too much, and it's been hand railing that 4 hourly 50, and I just wonder, well, if it starts breaking down, if it breaks that, well, again, a move back on the shorter terms back towards that 200, that's 4 hourly 200, maybe a bigger move. So that's what I'm looking at there, erring on the bearish side, but you've just seen this sort of push up over the last hour or so. There not a great deal of effect through the news, but of the bombing, but on the pound it's sort of been much duller. If you look at that and then compare it to, we'll come on to the end in a moment, but before then, where to with this pound? Well, at the moment I'm standing sort of a bit away from it. It's a mess basically. It looks sort of easy when I was looking at it earlier in the week, and then it's all of a sudden gone a bit sort of messy. Now again, it may be waiting to see if we could break the trend that runs across these lows here. As I said, it's been running into that 4 hourly 50. Let's have a look at them. If it starts breaking out, that might give me a trade from there. So maybe a patience game with the pound. If it just carries on pushing upwards, so be it. I may look for a short from that later. It came off yesterday from an overbought signal up here quite quickly. Really did fire off at that point. So, but bitty old mornings at the moment, and with this sort of, as I say, news is probably affecting it. So the yen got the biggest, a much bigger move. Price, you can say, running into here. Gold did the same. I'll show you that in just a moment. Selling off here, broken the prior lows there on the yen. But coming back to the dailies, it's almost looking like, well, it could actually reverse completely here. And continue pushing back up. It's back in the sort of European session. It does at this stage look like it might still push up there. There's divergence across the lows here. Okay, that's a quick move that sort of shot down there, pushed back up. It's diverged. It sort of looks like yeah, we could see a continuation to the upside. But as I was just saying in the room, just as gold, it's that risk. I'm just going to flick this to a 4-hourly gold chart. Let me just switch across to gold here, and you can see on this it's done exactly the same thing, divergent. Well, it's inverted, of course, but it's diverged across the highs here. Yeah, technically it could roll over, pull back to one of these major moving averages, maybe even back to that weekly pivot at some point. But with the risk sitting there, and you sort of the US has hit Iran's now hit back, and you just think, well, this could escalate quite quickly, and there's risk on risk here in terms of we could see a move start coming here. Technically it got overbought, run into its weekly R3, and it looks fine technically that we could see a bit more of a correction, but as I said, with the fundamentals as they are, it may not come to anything unless we just see a de-escalation and it's things slow down and things are left alone, in which case if it quietens down, but it could take a couple of days, weeks maybe for that to happen. Okay, so I've flicked across to gold there. Looking at the other markets, Aussie dollars still struggling here, coming to dailies, and it's a big sell-off again yesterday. Bouncing a little bit where it is at the moment. It's taken quite a big correction. Through December, I thought it sort of got from a bigger picture scale. I just think it got carried. There's almost a bit of carrying away there, but maybe some end of year corrections or whatever it may have been. But it's sort of back within that sort of tighter range that we've sat in since September, or even before then, August sort of time. Is back in that sort of range where we've been sitting. We'll see how it works, but maybe it will manage to get a bit of a foothold and move back up. But looking very weak as it sits here at the moment. Okay, then more again on those Aussie CAD, more swing type. The CAD here, I'm not even going to go down the smaller time frames. You can just see from this time frame here last week chopping along, and even with this news out, yes, it's moved because of the price of oil flying all over the place, and again that corrected itself quite quickly. So it seems that these markets are responding quite quickly to the news. The reaction comes in, the counter reaction just pulls back, and this is Western Texas oil is just running flat there. So maybe as ever, I tend to look towards the European currencies, the euro or the pound, predominantly in the mornings for day trading, and at the moment I'm looking to see if either of them start firing over and start selling at this stage, particularly the euro. Just a better shape here, but if the pound drops through that 4-hourly moving average, 4-hourly 50, that too could sort of trigger something. Otherwise I may just be sitting on my hands this morning. Anyway, that's it for me. Hope you have a great day. Bye for now.